After you've leveled the build platform, your Makerbot Replicator 2 desktop 3D printer will prompt you to begin loading your Makerbot PLA filament. The extruder on your Makerbot Replicator 2 will be heating during this process, so be careful not to touch it. The first step in filament loading is to pull the filament guide tube out of the top of the extruder. Now trim off the end of your Makerbot PLA filament and feed it through the other end of the guide tube until you see the end of the filament come out of the tube. Make sure the filament loads up from the center so you don't get jams during printing. After you've fed it through, press the M to continue. Once your extruder has reached the correct temperature, your Makerbot Replicator 2 desktop 3D printer will ask you to load the filament. Click through the message until your Makerbot Replicator 2 asks you to press the M when you see plastic extruding. Take the end of the filament itself and push it right into the hole in the top of the extruder. Make sure the filament goes into the center and doesn't get caught on the edge. You'll have to use some force and maintain pressure on the filament until you feel the motor pulling it in. You can then let go and watch for the noodle of filament to push its way out of the nozzle. Lastly, push the guide tube back into place. Let the noodle get a few inches long and then press the M to stop the filament from coming through. Don't be surprised if you don't see the color you expected. There's probably still a bit of filament in the nozzle from our testing process here at the Makerbot factory that we call the Bot Cave. When you're done extruding, wait a moment for the extruder to cool and then pull away the noodle of extruded filament. Your Makerbot Replicator 2 desktop 3D printer will give you a few chances at loading filament before moving on. If you don't get it quite right the first time, you can always repeat the process from the main menu by going to Utilities, Filament Options, and then choosing Load. This is also the screen where you'll be able to unload your filament when you're ready to try out a new color of Makerbot PLA filament. Now, your Makerbot Replicator 2 desktop 3D printer will ask you if you're ready to make something.